Compax, Bi-Compax, Tri Compax, what the heck? But what do these terms really stand for? Contrary to what the most people think, it has nothing to do with the number of subdials. I'm Felix. In today's video, we want to give you a closer look into the difference between these models, which functions they have, and share our feeling about a beautiful Tri Compax from 1947. So let's roll the intro and get into today's video. First things first, the terms Compax and Tri Compax belong to universal Geneve like salt to the ocean. Only Bi-Compax never existed. This specification has no technical meaning, but rather has gradually established itself. Chronographs with a small minute counter at 3 often were called Bi-Compax, and wristwatches with an additional hour counter at 6 were increasingly dubbed Tri Compax. Unfortunately, we don't know who, when and why somebody started using these terms to indicate the number of subdials. If you want to get to the bottom of it all, you simply have to look into the history of the wrist chronographs. You came across the once very successful Universal Geneve brand very quickly. During the early 1930s, pocket watches declined in popularity, while wristwatches were becoming the norm. People were also starting to favor chronograph watches because their function were useful to soldiers and civilians alike. Universal Geneve took this as an opportunity to introduce the Compur and the Compax in the mid-30s. The difference between them is that the Compur featured only 2 subdials and registered in minutes and their fractions the duration of a short observation, up to 45 minutes, while the Compax features 3 subdials, but in this time to register in hours in their fractions, not a minute, for a longer observation, up to 12 hours. Because of its popularity, Universal Geneve released the Compax in a lot of different variations throughout the years. A few of those are the Aero Compax, the Dato Compax, the Medico Compax, and also the Tri Compax. The Aero Compax features a second crown at the 9 o'clock position and has an unusual complication. At 12 o'clock you can see the upper register, and this allows to input a specific time and keep it as reference. The hands are indeed only moving from the action of the left crown. The Medi-Compax features a unique scale on the outer edge of the dial, called pulsometer or pulsograph, designed for those in a medical profession. And this pulsometer measures heartbeats per minute on a scale of 15 to 30 heartbeats. And then we have the Dato Compax, which features a 31-day counter at 12 o'clock. To commemorate its 50th anniversary, the company introduced in 1944 the Tri Compax. This hour counter chronograph with a triple date calendar and moonphase display is to become one of watchmaking's greatest 20th century commercial successes. Tri, or Triple Compax, it has nothing to do with the subdials or their numbers in this context. Rather than, the additional words stood for the 3 functions of this timepiece: a chronograph with a 12-hour counter, a triple date calendar, and a moon phase display. Now we want to take a closer look at our model. The Tri Compax was in production from the mid-40s until to the late 80s, and our reference is 287, and it is also known as the Truman Tri Compax. US President Truman wore an 80K yellow gold Tri Compax at the historic Potsdam Conference in 1945 in Germany. It features an engraving on the back that it was worn at Potsdam July 1945 by Harry Truman. There are a lot of versions of the Tri Compax with a lot of dial designs, different cases and materials. Our model with the reference 12551 comes in 18K yellow gold with a 36mm tonneau shaped case with downturned triangular lugs, rectangular chronograph pushers and a snap-on case back. The case back is engraved with a serial and reference number as well as the Universal Geneve hallmarks inside the back. On the side of the case you can find 3 little buttons for changing the date, month and the moon phase. You just need a small metal stick and push these buttons to change the settings. All in all, it has great proportions and the beautiful triangular lugs hold it nicely to the wrist. Over the years, the case was produced in several sizes, ranging from 33mm up to 37mm, which were called jumbo models. The rectangular chronograph pushers have a perfect size and aren't too pronounced, which supports the classy look. To start the chronograph function, you only have to press the upper pusher and the same button to stop the process. For resetting the chronograph, you just press the lower pusher. Under the plexiglass you can find a naturally patinated silvered dial, and this example shows off all the elements that have made the Tri Compax a modern classic, including the beautifully composed dial. The beautiful shaped gold hands are highly characteristic for Universal Geneve and are matching the 8 applied gold dagger indexes which point to the center of the dial. The 4 sub-register design works so well and never feels cluttered. The dial has windows for the day and the months, then 4 subdials for the 30-minute register at 3, the 12-hour register at 6, the constant second at 9, combined with the moon phases at 12. And as a funny fact, on the moon phase disc you can see the moon with an applied phase. The first models out of the mid-40s are featuring a smiling face. And the dial also features a blue tachymeter scale with matching blue steel chronograph hands. Inside the gold case body beats a caliber 287 manual winding movement. Early Tri Compax models used the Universal Geneve caliber 287 and 481, which were modified Martel movements, also shared with Zenith at that time. All through, it is clear that Martel made movements for Universal Geneve, but it must be said that Martel's role in the Universal Geneve movement making has been a point of contention and confusion. Some sources indicate that Universal Geneve's chronograph production was entirely in-house throughout the 30s and 40s, but a few patents show otherwise. All in all, the Tri Compax has always been a wonderful example of design at its best from the classic post-World War II wristwatch area. So that's all for today's video. We hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, we would be very happy to see you in our next video next week. And have a great day, afternoon or evening.